What's up, addicts? Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. In this video, we are breaking down running back Cam Akers leading into the NFL draft. From a pre-draft prospect, looking at where we think his fantasy value is. So anyway, before we get into that, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. But let's not waste any more time. We'll get started right now. Started, check out the link in the description. We are offering a free till kickoff special for our fan companion tool. You get access all the way up into the kickoff of the NFL season for absolutely free, so make sure you check out that link. What's up, guys? All right, Cam Akers, running back from Florida State. Now, definitely seen a wider range of prospect analysis for Cam Akers, but I definitely think he belongs in that upper echelon of runners. Should be among the top 4 running backs selected in fantasy drafts, and really is kind of an underrated prospect. The main thing to remember before we even get into any of the breakdown for Cam Akers is his offensive line was the worst. Maybe not the worst, but it was terrible. At least in comparison to the other main guys here, he was dealing with the crappiest deck in terms of his offensive line. So he performed very well considering that. 5'10", 217 pounds, a little bit smaller than Jonathan Taylor, but not by much. 71th percentile body mass index. 4.47 40 time, 87th percentile, 89th percentile speed score, decent burst, decent bench press as well. 63rd percentile Spark X score. Really good college target share, was used a lot as a receiver and even occasionally as a quarterback there in Florida State. Again, college yards per carry pretty low, 25th percentile, 5 yards per carry. A lot of that has to do with the offensive line, but his dominator rating, 89th percentile. Again, for those of you wondering, college dominator is a rating of which how much this particular player makes up for the total number of yards and touchdowns for his team. So overall, very good prospect if you ignore the yards per carry, because again, a lot of that has to do multiple things. It's not all his offensive line's fault. He does have a tendency to try to bounce a lot of runs outside rather than just taking the yards that were given to him, which sometimes resulted in good things, but a lot of times didn't. And obviously in the NFL, that kind of run style is not a style that gets you a lot of fans in the coaching community, so that could end up hampering him a little bit. When we look at his statistical production over the 3 years at Florida State, 1,025 rushing yards in his freshman year, 8 touchdowns, 16 total catches, 116 yards. Second year drops down 76 yards, 8 touchdowns, 23 receptions, and 145 receiving yards. And then his last year, 1144. 5 yards per carry, 18 total touchdowns, and then 30 receptions. So used heavily in the passing game, very adept at receiving for running back in this class. DeAndre Swift, definitely the best pass catching prospect, but Cam Akers not that far behind him. Also a pretty decent pass blocker as well. So he has a lot of good things about his game to him. Obviously, again, playing behind a bad offensive line and still being able to produce like this, I think he's a very underrated prospect at this point. I do think that there is a tier break between him and Jonathan Taylor, and I still have J.K. Dobbins above him, but I do think that especially in the right system, Cam Akers could be a instant fantasy producer and someone that you're probably going to be able to sneak by a little bit later, because once you see the likes of Jonathan Taylor go by, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, a lot of fantasy players right now are looking more towards guys like CeeDee Lamb, Joe Burrow, so you might be able to sneak Cam Akers by with a later like 107, 108 pick. He shouldn't fall that far. I think he's going to be a massive asset to whatever team he goes to. And again, as I say in every video, where he lands is going to be very indicative of his value going forward. You don't want him going to a team with a zone run scheme. He doesn't quite have the vision or the patience that you'd want to see with a running back that's playing in a zone blocking run scheme. But if he goes to a team that wants to use him in like a one gap scheme, that's going to end up benefiting him a lot. Honestly, similar prospect to DeAndre Swift in that although it probably wouldn't be the best for fantasy, you'd probably be better for the NFL if he goes to a team that has a more competent power runner that he can work with for a while and basically be a 1A, 1B situation. Again, not ideal for fantasy, but would be good for the team that he ends up playing for. But based on the teams that we know right now that still need a running back, it's very possible that he lands in a situation that is juicy from the very start. And as we know, running backs have the most value at the beginning of their career, and it dwindles off and falls off pretty quickly. So going in, starting his NFL career at age 21, you're going to want to get on the Cam Akers train before it's too late. Definitely an underrated prospect, a guy I like a lot this year. But anyway, if you are curious where I have the rest of the running backs ranked for this year's class, hit that link in the description, and we'll be posting videos for all the fantasy relevant players post-draft and pre-draft. We're working on pre-draft ones right now, obviously, but we'll get to them post-draft as well. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.